Hey, so today I want to talk to you around why eczema shouldn't just be treated as a skin condition. If you have just had a diagnosis, or your kid has just had a diagnosis of eczema, continue watching this video to find out a little bit more about why we shouldn't just be using creams to deal with it, okay? So as a kid, I was at the doctor's a lot. I suffered with excruciating earaches, I had so many colds, I had sore throats, I had severe eczema. Now as a naturopath, I can see that all of those things were linked. My body was inflamed, it was angry, it was crying out for help, and creams were never going to resolve this. There's an underlying imbalance that was going on. So the conclusion that I've come to over time is that I really wish that my skin condition, or my eczema, hadn't been treated just as a skin condition. Because it's not. It's an odd statement, I know, but anything that is visible on our skin is the sign of a deeper imbalance going on. Now, the current approach to chronic skin condition management needs to change if we're going to have a sustainable healthcare system moving forward. Currently, it's all about management of the condition because there's no cure. We can't even say that word. Yet, all you need to do is Google eczema, cure, whatever you want. And you'll be presented with thousands of results that talk about how I cured my eczema, the miracle eczema cure, la 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 la. While there is no scientifically accepted cure, there are genuinely thousands of people out there who have found their cure. So the current approach to eczema is emollients. And if they don't work, steroids are prescribed. Yes, diet and allergy testing might be mentioned depending on your practitioner, your GP, but often not enough emphasis is placed on how this can help. So the concern I have is the growing number of people who are now reliant on steroids, because these things work, But the problem is that people continue to use them and they don't use them in the way that they were designed to be used. Now, continuous use of steroids seems to be sort of displaying people that have seemingly become addicted to these steroids, and they've stopped working because their eczema has become out of control and the steroids aren't working anymore. So this miracle cream that was working for them has stopped. And often it takes years, decades even, before the real side effects are felt from medical interventions. And often the first people to speak out are ridiculed or silenced because there's no scientific evidence. Why people don't learn from examples in the past, it never ceases to amaze me. The side effects from thalidomide spring to mind. It took years for that connection to be made. How many people were affected before it was taken seriously? We don't want these things repeating themselves. And eczema is inflammation of the skin. The body has had a reaction for a reason, and topical corticosteroids will very effectively reduce the inflammation. But why does nobody think to ask, well, why is my child's body inflamed in the first place? Why do we still feel like we are more intelligent than all of those years of evolution? Why do we just try and stop a reaction because we don't think it's right? So inflammation happens for a reason. Perhaps it's best to try and understand why inflammation is there in the first place. Doing that will take us down a slightly different path, but to me that seems like a much more logical one to take. Now, I encourage parents who've had a diagnosis of eczema to explore the options. Don't rely on creams to make it better. By all means, use them to alleviate the pain that your child is going through, but do not rely on them as they're going to make it all better and it will go away. Okay? So as a kid who's grown up being smothered in creams, it's not fun to have that. And now I know that there are underlying issues surrounding eczema and things like that. I now specialise in working with parents of little kids with eczema, and my mission is to not let any kid grow up thinking that they can't take control of their eczema. For some, it's simple. It could be a simple thing to resolve what the underlying imbalance is, but for others, a bit like myself, who are genetically predisposed to this condition, it might not be so simple. But I can tell you one thing, creams aren't going to be the answer. So if you want to find out more, then contact me, drop a message below this video, take a look at my website, you can find out how to work with me, and just reach out. And I would love the opportunity to help you with whatever you are going through. Hopefully talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.